Hey folks, CharlotteLivingForHealth.com, and today I want to talk about your knees. Do you have any discomfort or soreness in the front of your knees? If so, I want to give you a few things that might be able to help. So first we're going to take a look at what is possibly happening, why it's happening. We'll take a look at how that affects the golf swing, and then some things that you could do about it. A very common condition in the knee is something called patellofemoral syndrome. It's abbreviated PFS. And what that is the tracking of our kneecaps laterally or outside of our body here. Our kneecaps are supposed to be straight on our leg here. So why could this be happening? Well, the reason why it's so common is because any other injury related to our knee, whether you have a tear or some kind of break, can and almost always will lead to patellofemoral syndrome. And what's causing that discomfort or pain in the front of your knee is one of two things or both. One is a tight IT band. So that's a connective tissue that goes down the side of our leg. If that's tight, it will tend to pull that knee cap to the side or laterally. So there's one reason, but even bigger than that is an atrophy or weakness in our quad muscles. So if we have another injury, our quad is going to naturally atrophy because we're not using it, and especially there's a muscle as a part of our quad on the inside of our leg. If that is weak, it's not going to be strong enough to keep that kneecap in place. And with that tracking, it could also lead to some damage or some arthritic changes on the back of our kneecap. Now let's take a look at how this could affect our golf swing. There are way too many things to list of the things and the complications and the compensations that could happen within the golf swing if we're having issues in our knees. So let's just talk about one of the most basic things, because when I'm in my golf stance here, I'm in a slight squat, okay? My knees are naturally a little bit bent. It depends on what club I have, of course, but our knees need to be able to support us. If we're having discomfort in either of our knees, obviously our backswing, when we're shifting our weight to our trail leg, is going to be affected. As we start to come down and make contact here, now we're shifting our weight to our lead leg. There could be complications there. Probably the most common issue or characteristic in our swing will be coming out of our posture. If I can't put all my weight on either one of my legs, I'm going to do something, anything in this swing to avoid putting my weight on those, and that's going to lead to a whole slew of compensations in order to get that club back to that original spot and make that contact. So that is potentially what could be happening in the golf swing, a lot of different things. So let's now take a look at 3 things that we could do to help conservatively manage the knee and help you with your golf swing. Let's start with the neurological portion first. I've got 2 super quick things. The first is something called a sensory drill. Notice I have a cloth in my hand. I'm wearing pants, so I don't actually need this, but I'm showing it just in case if you're wearing shorts, you do not want to do your own skin on skin. Your brain will not know it's a foreign object. So if I was wearing shorts, I would use a cloth or something of the like. I'm wearing pants. I don't need it, so I'm going to do a sensory drill. And all that is for about 8 to 10 seconds, just waking up that area right around my knee. Again, just 8 or 10 seconds, and we're done with that portion. Following that, we want to do a mobility drill. And this is something that is so great pretty much from the ground up. So it's a really healthy drill to do. What I'm going to do is start in a locked knee position and then simply rotate my knee in a circle, or just move it in a circle. And I only need to do about 4 or 5 in each direction. I'm keeping my ankle on the ground. And that is the first mobility drill. It'll make it feel very good. I highly recommend it either before you take your very first swing, even in between swings if you need, or even before a general workout. That takes care of the neurological portion. Now let's take a look at a quick stretch. This is a super basic stretch. You've been doing this and you see this forever. It's going to start as a quad stretch, but something that's really important, we could be having issues at our knee if our ankle and or our hips, especially as golfers, are tight. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the hips because that's a little bit more common. I'm going to stand to the side here, and I'm going to use my TV here for a little balance. Very basic quad stretch, okay? So we've all seen this one. You want to keep your knees together here. Now what I want to add is adding in a stretch of the hip flexor, and I can do that simply by pushing from my glute, just pushing forward a little bit. So now that that stretch is not just the front of the leg, but the stretch is starting at the hip, and this is not only a quad, but also a hip flexor stretch. Very easy and very quick to do, whether it's before you get on the golf course or before a workout. We're 2 down, 1 to go. Now let's take a look at a quick exercise. This is an exercise that is fantastic for helping our knees and for helping to strengthen all of these structures around it. This is a side step up. Of course, there's a lot of variations of it. This is one. This particular step up is probably about 5 to 6 inches. If you are newly post-rehab, I would recommend starting at about 2 inches and then work your way up. So here's a side step up. It is just that. It is stepping up and down. What's great about this, it does help to do a little bit of extra focus. You're gonna get the entire quad, but the last about 10 degrees of what's called knee extension here really helps focus on that quad muscle on the inside of our leg, and the reason why these step ups are so great and so healthy for keeping a very healthy kneecap. So there you have it in terms of conservatively managing your knee and some things that you do from a neurological, stretching, and exercise perspective. I hope this is helpful. Thanks so much for watching. This is Cheryl, Living for Health.